All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Sadiq Sayed, Senior Vice President for Digital Buildings line of business at Schneider Electric. And thank you for your participation here today. Look, I think this video clearly shows the complex environment we are all navigating, the dynamic shifts in the market that the businesses are grappling with, and how chaotic it can be when you're working through this. Yet, it shows the world is full of opportunities for us to transform this. So here, today, the key question for all of us is how are our infrastructure operations set up for thriving in the dynamic and demanding environments that we are all operating in? That's the key question to ask. And look, some of these challenges that you see on the page are not new. I'm sure it resonates with all of you. Electrification, the demand for energy is very clear in this environment. Data centers are grappling with that, while they have to also go meet their commitments around carbon neutrality. Healthcare environments, for example, they have pressures from emissions perspective, while they need to maintain efficient 24/7 operation. Life sciences, for example, they're grappling with strict compliance and regulatory reporting needs. Workforce shortage, I mean, we are all grappling with it. The skilled labor force is reducing with every year as it passes by. Digitalization and AI, while it has opened new frontiers, but the hurdle to that adoption and scale is siloed data, and how do we bring it all together to really harness and unlock the value of AI and the potential of it brings. Compliance, we are all dealing with, across industries, dealing with new reporting standards, new compliance and regulatory standards that we're all expected to adhere to by a certain timeline, depending on where you come from. So that's kind of the environment. So to set the context, what are we doing about it as an ecosystem in the industry, as solution providers, as partners, as end users? What do we need to go do address some of these challenges? And with that, of course, I'd love to have a conversation with some of the industry leaders who are addressing these challenges, adapting operations in their environments, and tackling these issues, and have a meaningful conversation in terms of what we need to do as a community and as an ecosystem. So I'd love to welcome our panelists on stage from the industry to have a discussion. So come on board here. Yeah. Welcome.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Right. All right. So I will, without further ado, let the panelists actually introduce themselves. Quick introduction in terms of who you are, where you come from, and what you do. That'll be fantastic. And then we'll open up for a conversation.
Sure. My name's Frank Glenn. I'm with Switch. I've been in the data center industry since about 2006, and I've been doing commissioning since about 2000. Now I'm involved in field engineering, commissioning, quality control, and I also facilitate controls in EMS for our Switch Colo side. I've been on the hyperscale side for a better part of a decade, and now I'm getting used to co-location and the demands and growth. So excited to see, essentially where this goes with AI.
So I guess standing is the new norm.
You can just sit and talk. That's okay.
My name is Ivan Ospina. I started my career back in the early 90s where everything was serial communications. I was for a long time an applications engineer. I actually started in Colombia in South America with a Schneider partner when I was 18 years old. So I have been, I guess, a witness of the transition of the technology since early 90s until what we have today, and have the opportunity to participate with Schneider in different programs, creating new technologies, new programs, and mainly for critical power facilities. So has been done for a long time, and thank you to our customers that are here and partners and everybody giving us your time.
And I'm Kara Herring. I'm a senior analyst at Verdantix, which is an independent research and advisory firm. And I'm a research analyst on the real estate and built environment team specifically, with coverage and digital platforms for building operations, digital twins, and decarbonization technology for the built environment.
Great. Thank you. Well, let's get started, and we'll keep it as interactive as possible and get some insights here for everyone. And also we'll open up for questions towards the end of this session. So just to start off, a question for all of you. So do these trends actually resonate with you in the segments you operate in? We'll start with Frank.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's seeing the consumption of power is kind of exponential from what we've had before. And now the challenges are not only how do we mandate the utility grid to be stable with our fluctuations, but also I really would emphasize the workforce. We're struggling to find resources just in the locations that we're building data centers. And, on top of that, we need to try to simplify and standardize so that we can bring new people into the ever shrinking work pool that we have to pull from.
Yeah, you mentioned the rapid, speed for electrification, but I will add to that the speed of construction. Yes, for us partners, has been a challenge to keep up with construction, and not only in the U.S. but in different places as well. Latin America is a growing place right now, where construction is starting to happen for data centers, for example. But critical power facilities are not only data centers, right? Are also hospitals, airports. They also need electricity. We're building now industrial plants. Right now we're working with a major manufacturing facility for batteries for electric vehicles. They also require speed of construction and these systems. Talent retention. I have been working with commissioning engineers in data centers for the last few years, nights and weekends, literally. So the systems that we're providing them to commission systems and to run these data centers are still very manual. And it has been a challenge to attract the new talent. Kids out of college, when I interview them, we have a hard time explaining that they have to go with a laptop to a construction site wearing electrical boots. They don't want to. We're trying to commission data centers remotely. Sometimes you can, sometimes you cannot. So what type of technologies are we providing to manage these trends in the industry?
Great point. Kara?
Yeah, and just to add to that, definitely what we're seeing in healthcare, in commercial real estate, and just the built environment more broadly is that it's undergoing a rapid period of electrification. So whether in healthcare, it's from the electrification of sterilizers to fleet electrification, et cetera, we're seeing this happening quickly and at scale. And this is also happening concurrently with, increasingly stringent sustainability mandates. So whether it's meeting decarbonization targets, being in compliance with energy efficiency standards, or just local building regulations, or scope 1 phase outs, et cetera. We're seeing this all really be interconnected and kind of driving each other.
Great. Thanks for sharing your views. Definitely it's resonating in terms of, some of the challenges you're grappling with, and clearly the emerging trends are, electrification while driving efficiency, and also just, some of the challenges you're grappling with, either workforce attraction to this industry or retention, and how do you drive skills development along the way. So
I would like to touch on something she touched last, the word sustainability.
Yep.
I would like to do a quick survey here. How many of you know what GRI 302 is? GRI 302. Exactly. We're talking about sustainability, and we're not talking this language, right? A global reporting initiative for energy, right? That's something we're struggling with when we have the sustainability conversation with the sustainability guys. Our systems are lacking that type of conversation. So that's something that we as an industry all need to come together and talk about it, and start building the reports, starting showing the transparency to show the sustainability reporting to others and drive sustainability together too.
Sure. Absolutely. Great example. So again, the next question is also to you all. If you had a clean slate, what would you rethink in your infrastructure strategy to align with your business goals?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's kind of a scary but a novel idea. I mean, I think that AI has kind of put a clean slate on the industry as a whole. But ideally I'd be looking for an ability to scale rapidly, handle the the unexpected electrification growth that we're not sure where it's going to get to. But we have to be conscientious that we're all part of the same earth that we live on. So we have to be respectful for, all the people that are using the grid as well. And then, essentially we're just trying to make sure that we got an ability to scale with new workforce, new workload. And that comes with, trying to unify and bring together tools.
Great. Kara?
Yeah, it's really interesting. We have, at Verdantix, we just went through our 2025 corporate real estate survey. And in the survey, it's indicating that there's this preference that's shifting from multiple point solutions to one unified digital platform. And we're seeing this, and the implications of this are that organizations are doing this to not only simplify compliance, but also streamline operations, have systems talk and integrate so you can draw up holistic data insights from them. And then just, of course, reduce your reliance on middleware and reduce total cost of ownership as well. So we're seeing, to better align with business goals, just this massive shift towards unified platforms.
Great.
Yeah, from the technology perspective, I like the way you put it, the middleware, right? I think we need to transition from the concept of middleware to more open architectures, mainly for the resiliency part. We cannot just depend on a couple of servers running primary redundant and that's it. I'm not going to mention names, but you've seen the news lately, certain regions going down, certain data centers going down.
Yep.
Just yesterday, a cybersecurity company went down and I couldn't work on certain aspects for our company and internal processes. Yesterday, one of the major cybersecurity companies in the world went down for 3 hours. It was 6 a.m. here, like to 10 a.m. yesterday time here. We couldn't operate in our company certain processes.
Yeah.
So we have to rethink, I like the word you put that in your initial video. We have to rethink how we build these systems. Open architecture, distributed architectures is where we need to move.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your views. So over to you, Frank, specifically. Look, data centers are scaling fast. What operational challenges are you facing in managing energy across actually multiple sites, across your network of data centers?
Yeah, I think it's a challenge that we're all trying to digest. But for me, it's an interesting development with the previous industry going away from mechanical cooling and trying to get as much free cooling or convection cooling to now being kind of turned on its side, where we can't handle this amount of capacity within our data centers without using liquid cooling. So now that electrification is coming with its own requirements and some of the governing standards to try to make sure we're not ruining the utility for everybody else's use. But that comes with metrics that we hadn't done before, KPIs, including like power usage efficiency and stuff like that. So in order to do that effectively, we have to essentially see what tools that we have out there and try to standardize against those. And then, again, it comes back to the workforce, making sure that we have repeatability and their knowledge and experience, but then also how to translate that to new hires and the ever-expanding need to keep these sites on 24/7. So, I find it interesting that, where you weren't going to put water now is where water is needed. Yeah. So it's water and electricity don't mix, and we have to figure out how to make sure we're monitoring that, how we're essentially tracking, and then that all gets into the KPIs and performance.
That's a great example of how you're managing scale and speed and the operational demands in the data center segment. So, but look, these pressures are not just tied to the digital infrastructure. Kara, a question for you. As you, in your world, you see a broad spectrum across different domains and sectors, talking to different companies. So how are leading organizations in the built environment approaching this long-term infrastructure readiness for facilities that that operate continuously, like hospitals or other segments? There's also increasing demand for meeting sustainability, ESG goals, demands, and around tightening compliance requirements. So what is your bird's eye view of what's happening in the world outside of data centers?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, as you said, so on one side, you have organizations facing these pressures from energy tariffs, and so increasing price volatility, as well as strain on the grid from AI data centers, increasing energy demand and electrification, as you said. And then those sustainability mandates are increasing, interim net zero targets are approaching. And so you have these firms trying to reconcile their sustainability strategies to be able to address both goals and address both pressures as well. And so what we're seeing is that across domains, real estate leaders are looking at a new kind of positioning of their sustainability strategies that we've coined at Verdantix resilient decarbonization. And really, resilient decarbonization is this idea of your sustainability strategy going beyond emissions reduction and cost reduction, which of course are two critical pieces, but then going further to make sure that the criteria of your strategies going forward are safeguarding your critical systems so that they're able to both withstand and adapt to disruption. And so really what it is at its core is just holistic risk management. And this forward-looking approach, and we're actually seeing it. It's a really great example in healthcare, right? So, on healthcare, on the sustainability and compliance side, you have very strict regulations and mandates where you have to do continuous monitoring and reporting. And then on the other side, of course, on the resilient side, you have critical operations. And so we see these healthcare facilities shifting to activities where it's, on-site renewables, battery energy storage systems, fleet electrification, et cetera, where you're able to kind of meet both criteria and there isn't a trade-off. So you're able to both meet your sustainability goals, but without exposing yourself to undue risk in the short and long term.
Got it. No, definitely it's clear that there needs to be more of that cohesiveness across domains to meet those demands, driving that simplification and visibility of data across domains to really meet the requirements of either sustainability reporting or compliance reporting. Over to you, Ivan. Look, you are on the ground. You have a multi-domain project experience. What you and your corporation does. What are you seeing as challenges out there, and do you see any improvement or any relief coming ahead?
I hope so. Support you guys are bringing that improvement. I'm hoping so. Yes. One of the things that I enjoy the most about working with qubits, leading qubits, I like to go to the field with my engineers, with our application engineers. Remember, one customer asked me, do you have time? You're the CEO of the company, you have time to go to the field. So you have to make time to go to the field to understand where the complexities are, what our engineers, our teams are going through. I spent last month, I remember a Friday night, commissioning a facility with one of our engineers because we were asked to go, and I said, I'm going to go show that I care for this guy, not only that, but see what they were doing. Commissioning level 4 for data centers is taking screen captures with commissioning engineers. That's very expensive. It is really something unnecessary. That's what I saw. So we have so many technology ideas. That's one of the challenges. How can we improve the life of these guys in the field, making this happen? Because, we're engineers sitting at an office, air conditioning. These guys are in tough conditions. So that's one of the things that are adding complexity to the systems. You were mentioning different energy sources. Now it's liquid cooling in your data centers. So our engineers have to understand multiple systems now, talk to different vendors, talk to different people to be able to, as system integrators, integrate this together and make it work together. So the complexity is growing. That's another challenge. With flexibility comes complexity from the engineering standpoint. So yes, what I'm looking forward is to the tools. What tools are we going to create? What innovation are we going to bring to make it easier for the guys that are running these data centers or the hospitals? One hospital that I work with in Nashville, Tennessee. That's where my office is, in Nashville. The main electrical engineer, veteran guy, retired. they're having a hard time covering for him. Nobody wants to take on that risk, that liability. A data center goes down, reputation, money, it's expensive. But if a hospital goes down, people die. This is a true story. One time, my wife was going to have a surgery. And, the engineer in me is like, well, what happened is, she was going to have like a couple of hours surgery. And the engineer in me, what happened if this generator doesn't work? Being at the hospital as a patient, I wasn't there selling or working. I was just with my wife, supporting my wife. So I went down and I talked to the facilities manager for the hospital. I say, hey, is your generator running? Is it good to go? Actually, a business came out of it. The guy shared with me, well, actually, by the way, at this hospital, our power monitoring system is not working correctly. 2 weekends before that, the maintenance guy, put it in manual, and the alarm was not making it to the PMS. And the panel on the wall to show the alerts was broken. So this is a hospital in the United States with people. My wife was going to have a surgery. So we did retrofitted the generator. We put an EPMS system. It was a nice thing. And my wife came out fine. So the stories, these are real life stories, right? It happens at data centers. What's happening, a couple of customers came to me 3 months ago. I shared this with you over breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
These guys are resigning. This is a major data center whose engineers running the data centers are tired of the stress. When you look at those screens, a lot of those EPMS systems have a lot of alarms. We don't have a way to filter the alarms. So instead of looking at an event, we're looking at hundreds of alarms in an EPMS system. These are operators of a data center. I want them to go home on a Friday at 4 p.m. So we need to provide them with the right technology. And that's the opportunity we have now. What's the technology that we're going to improve for them?
Great. No, thank you for sharing that powerful example. It's very personal, and we sometimes don't realize the mission critical facilities we support as either infrastructure or solution providers powers a piece of medical equipment, in this case, that is caring for your family, right? Or helping heal. So when you connect the dots, it's really powerful, the mission we support in all these segments. Look, I understand the challenges. We've gotten a lot of rich feedback from partners such as you, customers and users such as you, and all the research we get from Verdantix and other sources. So actually, I'm really excited to talk about what are we doing about that to address some of these challenges. And you all heard in the plenary yesterday the most exciting announcement, I believe selfishly, of this event is EcoStruxure Foresight, and that to me is really transformational when it comes to breaking the silos across domains, really bringing together the capabilities we need as a ecosystem to really solve for some of these challenges. So if I may actually quickly go to the...
I want to make this a little bit more interesting, right?
Yeah.
So they don't fall asleep and we make it a more interactive panel, right?
Yes.
So we've been mentioning challenges. I'm sure we all here have stories, challenges, real life challenges, right? You in your data center with your...
Yeah, exactly.
We started this conversation in Prague back in May, right? We had another innovation summit in Prague, Europe, and one of the Schneider persons, leader, Schneider told me, Ivan, I shared a similar story in Prague, and this person came to me with Manish and say, I needed to challenge my team. We need you guys to challenge us. Bring the voice of the customer. You guys are here, right? So feel free to not only interject, but ask the questions. Are we fixing the problems? We system integrator. We have Faith here. We have also, we're partners working together in different systems throughout the US and some of us internationally. How are you guys going to help us, right? Because we're bringing the challenges, the voice of the customer. We started this conversation back in Prague. Have we made any progress since our conversation back in May in Prague?
Yes, good to hold us accountable. Thank you. No, but very apt question, and we listen to your challenge and also some of your peers in the industry, and that's one of the key reasons and our strategic intent to launch EcoStruxure Foresight actually is in response to a lot of those pain points that the industry has articulated, including you openly challenging us and we appreciated that challenge. So to give you a little bit of a glimpse, actually, and as a reminder of what EcoStruxure Foresight is actually at the center of solving for all this. You saw a little bit of that glimpse yesterday when Manish launched EcoStruxure Foresight. Saw a little bit of that interaction and the demo of the art of the possible. So to go a little bit again as a reminder in terms of what does this mean as an operations platform for the built environment, right? So it's truly bringing the multi-domain capabilities of power, energy management, building management on a unified, scalable, intelligent platform. And that is, we truly believe, is an industry first to really tackle some of the challenges we talked about: data silos, workforce, lack of expertise in the workforce in different domains. How do we simplify this at a level wherein the new workforce that is coming in is able to process this and really optimize your operations? So that's the whole intent of and the value proposition of EcoStruxure Foresight. Truly AI enabled at all levels, from ability to engineer and deploy in the fastest possible time and bring time to value for partners and customers like you, truly taking the operational efficiency to the next level. We've seen in our research as much as 50% better in terms of operational efficiency and managing the life cycle resiliency, which is key for some of the segments you operate in, redundancy and resiliency requirements. Really future-ready operations. I mean, the demands of data center, for example, today, say 1 million points, we see that could go up to 2 million points or more as the density of compute increases. The deployment expectations are different. We cannot wait for months. It has to be days and hours to really activate a data center or any critical facility like healthcare. So that's the promise we're coming in with in bringing together the goodness of all these domains on one natively integrated platform that is scalable and scalable across use cases beyond energy, power, and building management today. So hopefully we can fulfill the challenge.
That's part of my challenge.
Yes.
The other one, I gotta take on the opportunity to challenge Schneider. I was tasked to challenge Schneider.
I didn't expect to be on the hot seat, by the way. I thought I was questioning them.
I always say that I come to these panels with 150 people behind me. Those are my guys at the office and the data center operators. One of the challenges also is the speed of deployment.
Yep.
Some of the projects are, Faith and us, we go through the same challenges. We are tasked to commission multiple or build multiple data centers at the same time.
Yep.
And with the previous tools that we had, that was very manual process.
Mm-hmm.
I got excited with the marketing video that Manish showed.
Yep.
That's really where we're going.
Yes, absolutely. That's where we are going in terms of our ability to, deploy efficiently, reduce that. Like as an example, we can say in a facility with 1 million points, you can cut down deployment timeline by about almost 500 hours. And that's what we are aiming for. And we've seen.
And this conversation has a background that started in Prague. I shared the story. I'm sure a few of you, this story will resonate with you. My 16 years old, at some point, a couple of years ago, he was tired of seeing me travel so much. So one day he asked me, my son challenged me and he asked me, what do you guys do in these data centers? Like, why take so much time? Why you're going so much time? And I'm sure that a lot of us travel a lot. And that put in my mind, what are we doing, right? Why it takes so long to build these systems with these softwares, with these things? And I showed him how you build a one-line diagram in power operations. Yeah. And he saw me doing drag and drop, right-click, like the tedious manual process that a lot of us go through in our offices. There's a tremendous opportunity that my son challenged me with, because what he wants for that is a better life, right? And I always try to humanize technology, right? Because these are people not only building, but running these data centers.
Yep.
So are we on the right track?
I totally believe so. In fact, why don't we test this? I mean, how would you feel about something like this coming as a solution in a data center environment, I think?
Oh, it's excellent. I mean, going back to some of the comments about alarm fatigue is very real. And, I've been through several outages. had one facility that went down entirely, and it was correlated to there was a lot of different systems that had a lot of different settings and a lot of different parameters, and it wasn't just one smoking gun. So this bringing together at least two systems to unify and then standardize makes it a lot easier for you to find where the issue is, as opposed to the million of alarms that come in, and then we can start to looking at aggregating it, as opposed to having a middleware where you need to kind of correlate the two and then standardize that, this unified platform. I think the main thing, and I'll continue with Ivan's challenging here, is that we want to make sure it's open source, and that it can facilitate the bazillion of other tools that go into our whole life. And I mean, we're building these data centers for AI, so we want to make sure we use that AI to help us build it.
Absolutely. Just to summarize, look, definitely the core of it is open architecture. So while we will come to market with prepackaged domain-based applications, whether it's energy, power, or building management, but it's also an open architecture where you have the ability to integrate third-party applications that serve a specific purpose in the segment you operate in. Also, it leaves it open-ended for us to develop more domains beyond the three we have described. Also, integrations with tools like electrical design and simulation, whether it's a Schneider solution like ETAP or something else out there, or integrating with the operations like CMMS tools or IWMS tools to really complete that workflow. Once you detect a alarm that needs to be actioned upon, right? So definitely creating that end-to-end capability, but it starts with an open architecture and ability to scale in that end-to-end value chain. And then when you talk about alarm fatigue, etc., it's definitely AI ready day one. You saw some examples of that demo yesterday, but really, how do we reduce that alarm burden and leveraging AI to really present what matters for you as a facility leader to take action? And there's a lot that can be done leveraging AI, and that's a core part of our value proposition. That's why I mentioned AI at every level. It's not just engineering, deployment, and efficiency, but operations. How do you reduce AI alarm burden? How do you optimize further in terms of your fault detection techniques? So it's core to our development and innovation for sure. Any other comments since I'm on the hot seat?
I was going to say, I have to ask if you're still on the hot seat. It's just been a recurring theme that's been coming up multiple times throughout our conversation. So have to ask, but how is the platform then supporting resilience and compliance?
Yeah, great question. I think some of it I mentioned, but when it comes to resiliency, it's back to how do we leverage AI to really ground ourselves in a faster time to resolution, proactively, not reactively. That's number one, because a lot of what we deal with as an ecosystem is reactive when a system is down, when a chiller is down, when a HVAC unit is down. But how do we leverage that to give proactive insights so you're taking an action before something goes down? That's resiliency in mission critical environment. That example you gave about your wife and why you were worried that, hey, you didn't want the system to go down. So, but of course you had a human intervention, which was you going into probably the back room and asking the questions, but technology can enable that, right? So that's a great example of resiliency that we are enabling in mission critical environments. In terms of compliance, look, when you have a unified architecture and you have multiple domains on a unified architecture, your reporting needs are simpler. You are not reconciling data from different systems to really bring that reporting requirement to life. So it just becomes much more simpler in terms of whether it's sustainability reporting or any other compliance reporting. The unified architecture just makes life much simpler.
Yeah. I'm just going to share with everybody here. Feel free. Schneider, honestly, in the last couple of years, they have done a fantastic job reaching out to us, asking for feedback, customers' feedback. We bring the voice of the customer. We talk to you guys. Everybody that is here, if you don't work for Schneider, you have a Schneider contact. Those persons can be your channel to bring this feedback. So collaboration to me is key.
Yeah.
We solve this problem together. Different companies, we all have similar challenges. How can we all together come and fix this? So don't take one problem on your own.
Yeah.
We're stronger together. And this
Absolutely.
is what I always encourage our partners. We collaborate with partners a lot, with us or with Faith, with United.
Yeah.
Because we have the same challenges.
Yes.
We try to help each other. So bringing that voice of the customer to Schneider has been valuable to build this thing.
Absolutely, Ivan, and thank you for saying that. Look, we will not be able to do this in isolation. It's a result of a lot of rich feedback from you all, and also in some cases co-development with partners and users and customers. So innovation cannot be done in a bubble, and I really thank you all for participating in that journey. So look, very good conversation. Thank you for all your comments and questions and insights. Hopefully that's helpful. Just to wrap, look, definitely there's a shift towards driving more simplicity and ability to scale with speed. That's I think the core theme here in terms of how do we get there and how do we leverage technology to help us get there. Hopefully, it resonates. A lot of this discussion resonates with a lot of you, open to more feedback and questions. But I also encourage you to experience some of this beyond what you heard in the plenary. Experience some of that on the hub, in the innovation showcase. Engage us with your feedback, questions. We'd love to keep that dialogue going. So with that, I'd love to actually open the floor for some questions that the audience might have. Happy to answer. Yeah. I think there's a mic coming there.
Right behind you.
Yeah.
Sure.
So John Rhodes with Accenture. I had a question maybe for Frank about how your experience from the field comes back to the design and engineering teams as they're building the next data center. And I mean, our experience has been that everyone's trying to push costs forward. Commissioning gets compressed in 1 or 2 weeks. Things get value engineered out, so you don't have the sensor infrastructure you want. So how do you work within Switch to feed that back so the next one you build is built better for operations?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and it's a continuous improvement strategy, right? I mean, we've developed lessons learned, and we essentially pipeline that back through all the teams, backwards to construction, back up to design, and we try to adopt what we can, and then realize what might be a nice to have as opposed to like an imperative need, and then we work very closely. There's some individuals in here on the Switch operation side where we have to figure out how's that handshake going to work, right? There's things that do have to get done, but they're not impeding the delivery to the customer, and it's essentially just all teams working together to ensure that we're trying to be adaptable but deliver and then stay within target.
Great question. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Yeah. Sarah? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sarah with Acre Security. This is just some speaking out loud because the thought of unification and bringing things together. At Acre, we're also trying to unify access, intrusion, video. It's not a novel idea. Folks have been trying to do it for many, many years, and it hasn't succeeded.
Yeah.
I think now, we know what we're trying to do it now, right? We have more access to data. AI is going to accelerate. But what are the watch outs? And this is, so I'm new to industry, just joined in January. So asking of those who've been in industry, how do we know we're going to succeed this time around with unification? And how are we measuring ourselves against that success? Because building takes cost and time. It means we're doing one thing and not another. So how do we know we're building the right thing for our customers? And how, I guess from Schneider's perspective, how are you testing for that?
Yeah. Look, I think it's going to be, it's not going to be a flip of the switch and, magic will unravel. Definitely it's going to be a journey around, and it will require a lot of co-development, collaboration with this team and beyond this team outside of this room. But we truly believe that as long as we keep an open architecture, as long as we are natively integrating these domains, not just a high-level REST API-based integration, which gives visibility to data, but really not enabling the cross-domain use cases, right? So building that foundation is critical from an architecture perspective, beyond just showing data sets from different domains in a single pane of glass, because that's overly used, the idea of single pane of glass. But if there is no there's no open architecture and native integration, the idea doesn't come to life and the vision doesn't come to life. So that's the foundation. And I would love if there are thoughts here on the panel, but also just be very open to collaboration and listening to feedback and learning along the way, fail fast and iterate. Again, these use cases are so tuned to the segment you play in, whether it's healthcare, life sciences, commercial real estate, data centers. So we can also not assume that one size fits all, as long as the architecture supports expansion into different end markets. And it's going to be a journey, but we're focused on setting the right foundation. Yeah, I think we have, as an industry, we've just operated in individual sim lanes because the power quality, power experts in a facility are different from the building management mechanical folks. But the domains are converging between mechanical and electrical. But we need to respond to that by converging our solutions as well and the architecture to support that.
I mean, for me, it's being part of some engineering development and expanding teams. Essentially, we went from a handful to globally a couple hundred on a team that was just filling in gaps and just continually asking questions, and then feeding that back into the business and figuring out where do we intercept, how do we adjust. So there's no golden ticket solution that'll just be like, here you go, this is how you build a data center, this is how you operate it. But the continual improvement, which is merging two platforms, is just a continuous step and needing that feedback, right? So I think it's a collaboration, as Sandeep said, as far as we're going to need a lot of input that, again, we pipe back into not only our design and construction team, but that we provide back to the manufacturers like Schneider and everybody else that's involved.
Yeah, I'll bring a different perspective from a system integrator standpoint, right? Because my success is his success, right? As a system integrator, they're paying our bills.
Thank you.
One of the conversations that we had,
thank you.
One of the conversations that I had with a customer, the customer that told me that a few engineers have been resigning in the last 3 months, we made that part of our success. We had a conversation and we said, okay, why? Let's understand. We went the extra step to talk to their HR, and they were able to share with us why these engineers left. We thought we were part of the equation, but it's just the stress, the environment, etc. So one of the metrics that we put in our company is customer success. And we measure that by customer satisfaction. Are we delivering the right things as system integrators? Are they satisfied with the solutions that we're providing? And we made that part of our internal metrics. Customer metrics became metrics because if they succeed, we succeed as system integrators as well. So that's something different that we did internally.
Yeah, and I'd say...
Great question, Sarah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I'll get a comment.
Yeah, I was just going to say, talking earlier with Ivan, he referenced a lot of travel and getting out there, and we were both noting there's a lot of points to test, let alone commission and then digest during incidences. But substantially, a lot of travel has led to some physical conditions that Ivan's had to suffer us through. But I think the overall objective here is, if we find easier ways to approach this, we just have to consolidate and come together and figure out how to make that an improvement overall, right? If you look at this, consolidation allows us to potentially provision equipment and some automation servers a lot faster, as far as needing several hours to actually have the device sent to a central location or sent out to the site, and then you have somebody that has to map it, integrate it into the system. Now we can use a common platform that allows us to do some of this automatically. So this zero-touch provision is something that we're getting heavily into, and we're saving several hours, in getting things up and offline. But again, those are actual humans putting a lot of work on sites, and commissioning doesn't go as planned, but we try to do our best. And I think Ivan definitely has some physical back issues that we want to try to avoid others having that.
Yeah, I was sharing that. Was the result of commissioning, and I work with Drew. Drew is my customer here. Drew knows what I'm talking about. The speed of construction sometimes challenges, so it's part of the part of the challenges that we have as a company. But together, I said it again. I will say it again. Collaboration, working together, talking to each other. Like again, the conversation that I had with our customer, because his engineers were resigning, right? It's taking this to a different level, to an extra step, because systems integration starts with integrating the teams with the people working together. Then the systems will work.
Awesome. Great. No, thank you all for engaging in such a rich conversation, and also thank you to the audience for asking some great questions here. I'm sure there's a lot on your mind. Feel free to reach out. We are here, and also engage in some of the conversations on the innovation showcase. But look, let's keep the dialogue going. There's so much that we can collectively innovate and unpack and solve problems for our customers across the segments we operate in. So really appreciate, and thank you for everything. Yep.
And do you know what I need?